Electrical adventures at the Restoration House in a big echoey room. We're going to talk about it coming up. Hi, I'm Roger. Welcome to not the shop, but the Restoration House we've been working on here, trying to get it kind of fixed up and livable. And what this one here is going to cover is mostly electrical, a little bit of the bizarre plumbing that's down in the basement. But as I've been rewiring here, I put blue tape over the outlets as I'm done with them, so they don't get any paint on them when granddaughter paints the rooms here. Found quite a few things, and most notable was there was a 2-pole breaker in the breaker panel downstairs, and once again somebody put a 100-amp breaker panel, the 100-amp main on a 60-amp service. It's obviously going to be changed, but I couldn't figure out where that went because there were no 240 outlets in this house. They don't have central air, there's not an electric stove, not an electric dryer, so just couldn't quite figure out what that 2-pole breaker was for. But as I started rewiring the rooms, I started tracing that 14.3 cable to see where it went. And it went up to the living room area here, which is where I'm sitting in the corner. And underneath the window, there was a receptacle, and I've got it right here. And it wasn't grounded, of course, but what was bizarre was the 240 actually went to the receptacle. Hopefully you can see there's a red and a black wire on this. And somebody probably had adapted a plug on an air conditioner to plug into this normal 15-amp 120 volt outlet. I'm certainly glad I found that. If you would have plugged something else in there, a lamp or radio, TV, anything, you would have ruined it. So there was a great big no-no. And I'll take you on a little bit of a tour here and show you some of the other stuff I found. I'm not going to quite tackle the attic yet. It's pretty cold. So I'm going to wait for a little bit warmer day before I go up there because it is a bit chilly up there. Well, I'll give you a little bit of a tour of some of the stuff in the basement and some of the oddities that I found. Of course, I've been an electrician for over 40 years, so nothing really surprises me. But there are a lot of things in here that are just plain wrong. I'm going to show them to you. Okay, here's a box that was buried in the wall on this ledge that used to be in here, and they came out at the bottom, didn't even use a proper connector, and spun another receptacle out to the front of the counter. And it was a grounded outlet, and you see a grounded outlet there, but in looking down in the basement, that's only a 2-wire, there's no ground. Okay, here's a disconnect box that's just mounted on a column down here. I'm shining a light into it so you can see. And it's quite a mess, a couple plug fuses in it. And after tracing some things out, we got one coming out of the bottom here, and that goes on around and it goes up over here and follows around over there. It goes up, it comes back down, and it comes around and it goes into there, and it's fed from 2 different places. So I've got whoever did this just got lucky and got them both on the same phase, because otherwise we'd have a dead short in here. So that's a little hint there. If you're doing any of your own electrical work, use a tester. Just because you go shut the breaker off and it says it's off, you need to use a tester to make sure. Okay, coming out of this box, that's why I opened this up, I was looking for a outlet that was fed up through the wall, and they did a couple of them here, and instead of splicing in boxes, they just twisted them together and taped them up right there. One of those interesting places where they've got 2 boxes right next to each other. At least these are in boxes, but they both go up to the same place. So that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They went up and came back down and then set another box and started feeding things on down the wall. This will all come out, but I'm just showing this. Start here with this outlet down on the end, and then it goes over and it goes through, and We have a T-tap splicer without a box, where it goes up to an outlet upstairs, I suppose. And it follows right along here on the wall. And there we got another one. We T-tapped into that and fed it through a conduit in the wall into the next room. But it's only a short piece of conduit, it's just a sleeve. And then we move on down the line here. Oh, gee, there's another T-tap. We move on over, we got a couple crossed over, we got one all skinned up right there. This all comes over and goes down to this box, which then goes a couple different directions. And oh, gee, there's an inline splice. And eventually, it comes over here to the panel where we have another inline splice because it goes to a 30 amp plug fuse. And then this comes around and goes onto a 20 amp breaker. So there, that makes no sense at all. We got the same thing going on the other side. And we got this whole mess up in here to do something with. And I think I'm going to do this entire basement in conduit. I'm not even going to screw around trying to go through all these joists like another inline splice, T-tap. We got this kind of stuff all over the place. As you can see here, they just ran the Romex across the bottom. And we have another inline splice right there. And I think the reason they did it, and the same reason I'm going to do this basement in conduit, is because these floor joists are like 6 inches apart. So that'd be kind of miserable. Well, 6, 8, 12, 6, 4, 2, it just varies. So I'm not going to bother trying to drill all these, I'll just run this in conduit. And right up here is where the attic is fed from, which feeds the ceiling lights upstairs, and that's where they made the connection to the old knob and tube. I'll just drop a new line down there. It's real easy to do. This is a balloon framed house. And if you don't know what that is, this is open. What you see right here, it's not energy efficient either because that's open all the way to the attic. I can just go drop a string down there with a weight on it and pull another line up pretty easy. Then we're going to have to insulate this or at least fire stop it. Got to do something. A little goodie I found. Somebody kind of did a splice and just kind of stuffed it up there in the opening. We'll get rid of that too. And while I'm down here talking about the electrical, let's just take a little quick look at the plumbing. This here is where the water heater is going to be, where the old one was. We've got a combination of 3/4 galvanized, 1/2 inch galvanized, 1/2 inch copper, 3/8 copper, and they all go every which way. And then when you get over here above this little fuse box is going to get tore out. It gets even better with 3/4 galvanized, 1/2 inch galvanized, 1/2 inch copper, 3/8 copper, and valves and T's and plugs and things. So we're going to rip all this out and just do it over. Okay, here's a good example of what really not to do. Obviously this is old wire, and this is a grounded outlet, except there's no ground connected. And there's quite a few of these in this house, and this is extremely dangerous. Don't ever do this, and don't do the shortcut thing of tying the neutral to the ground. That's even worse than no ground. But this is just one of the examples of what not to do. This will all get replaced. So I hope you got a little bit out of that, a little bit of a tour of some of the electrical, some of the bizarre plumbing that's in here. You know, house was built in 1945, things have been added on and different people have done different things, and the attic is just as bad as the basement, wiring wise. There's a lot of knob and tube up there, which I'm going to need to take out. It's actually in good condition, but it needs to be removed and updated, and I'll be doing that up there. That'll be a whole another set of videos because I've got to find a camera that's going to be suitable for taking up into that nasty, dirty, dusty environment. It's not going to be the one I'm shooting on right now. Well, with that said, if you got something out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Of course, we're always looking for subscribers. And next to that subscribe button's a little bell. You click that bell, you'll be notified when I post another video. Otherwise, I'm Roger in the Restoration House. Electrical. See you on the next one.